We're on to episode 15 of the Off the Pole podcast. I'm Sarah Scott, and this episode has a business twist as I'm chatting to Tim Green from TeamUp, a management software system used by gyms and pole studios around the world. We discuss customer service and experience and their new competition to an £8,000 worth of market research. So whether you're a studio owner or not, I really hope you enjoy our chat. Welcome, Tim. Thank you for coming on my podcast.
Great to be here.
I will let you give a little bit of introduction to why you're here. Why have you come on my podcast? Tell me a little bit about yourself and TeamUp.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's really exciting to be on your podcast. I think this is probably the leading pole podcast out there. Among the
so you've been told by Stacey.
But it's I'm really excited to be here. I mean, as you'll know, kind of at TeamUp, we're really involved with the pole world. We have been for years. Since probably going back kind of 4 or 5 years when we first sponsored UK PPC, which I attended as well, which just blew me away with the quality and the passion of the pole world. And we've absolutely loved kind of working with pole studios, like pole members ever since. And I've got loads more to say on that. But at TeamUp, we're really in the business of taking the complexity out of running these awesome businesses and providing features that take away that kind of really annoying admin and the complexity of running memberships and payments, and making it really easy for members to kind of, for example, go onto your website and book onto a class or buy a membership. And so what we aim to do is really take all that pain out of the business and allow everyone to focus on the best bits of the business, which we have no ability to deliver at all. So we're the kind of boring friend in the room. But
I mean, that's slightly putting yourself down, but I've ran a studio myself for a few years, and it's definitely like you start a pole studio because you want to dance and you want to teach and you want to kind of have that side of it, but you actually end up spending a lot more time in the office, more of like a managerial role, an administrative role than I think a lot of people realise. So having something like a software system that's actually going to take a lot of that time out of it, because it takes a lot of time to run a pole studio, as I'm sure a lot of the studio owners out there are silently nodding their heads in agreement.
Definitely. And also, just to add to that, it's amazing at the beginning when you first set up your business, how that admin is almost a total pleasure. And a studio owner was telling me this just the other week, which was, right at the start, it wasn't a bother at all. I took pleasure in taking every single payment myself. It was just a miracle. I've created this business and people are giving me money. Yep. And then about a year in, suddenly with like 100 members or 150 members, suddenly it slowly becomes like this admin role that you never had envisaged at the beginning.
So if someone is maybe looking into getting a software system like yourselves, what makes you guys kind of potentially stand out from other things that are available on the market?
I mean, it's really, a lot of it comes down to the way that we built things. Now, you can take payments quite simply, and we often recommend businesses starting out, maybe just start with online payments, just try and get some kind of order within it. But where we really come to life is the way that we've designed the system to be really simple for business owners to use. And we back that up with ridiculously helpful personal support, which we take absolute pride in. And we have like a feedback system within the company where customers kind of tell us how we're doing. And we share like every bit of feedback that comes back from customers. We share and celebrate. And, we're all about our customers being successful.
That's great. I know it's one of the things that I look for in companies is like, if you can't get hold of them, it's so annoying. Like a lot of companies, they kind of hide their contact details and you can have to fill in a form, like an email form, and you physically can't get in contact with them if you need any help. So having that support system, I think, is really helpful. You just want to be able to ring someone up or throw someone an email and kind of get an answer as quickly as possible, because it's kind of real life happens quite quick nowadays with people want like instant answers because of the internet. The interwebs, and at any time of day too. So
yes,
like 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, people are messaging you like, why can't I use this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the big things about software as well, which is, it's amazing how people just think they have a right to speak to you at any time of day. So if they've got a private session with you, on Tuesday morning, they feel that they can message you at like 11:30 p.m. and say, sorry, can't make it tomorrow. And of course, there's like this kind of perception that fitness business owners or pole studio owners have have no other life at all. They
Oh
are
no, and we don't really, but
no,
it's
that's
sometimes we should probably put our phones down and speak to real people in in the outside world, not connected with Pole. But yeah, that can be difficult.
crazy talk, crazy talk.
Madness. What led you to try and kind of fill the kind of gap in this in the fitness and dance? You kind of, is it mainly those areas that you focus on, the fitness and dance studios?
Actually, we started with CrossFit.
Okay.
So we have a really big base of customers in CrossFit. I really love CrossFit as well. I see a lot of similarities between the way CrossFit businesses are run and pole studios, which is kind of you've got a limited number of weight racks, you've got a limited number of poles. So the problems that people face are really similar. They need to make sure that they've got their classes booked exactly, because empty poles is lost revenue, and too many people and having to turn people away is devastatingly disappointing. And also it's about fostering community and getting people excited. So when we got started, all we did is we just started speaking to business owners, and they told us the problems they had, and so we fixed those problems, excruciatingly slowly at the start, and then just kind of slowly building up from there. And really the system that we have today is built entirely on that business model, and it's not about trying to force people to run their businesses in the way they don't want to run. It's really just serving people and making sure that they've got the facility to do what they need to do.
Do any of those problems really stand out for you as something that was like repeated from many other business owners? Like a lot of people were having the same kind of problems, and can you remember any of those specifically, what they were and how you fixed them?
Wow, that's a big one.
I know, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, probably kind of 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when we were really small. At one point, there were kind of three of us, and we had two guys kind of working on building the product. And then at that moment, I was entirely doing all the support and all the sales and everything customer facing. So I've probably spoken with, I mean, it's probably in the region of like 10,000 business owners or something. Wow. And it's so really they're just it's amazing that you can see those patterns, and it's patterns across everything. And an example is kind of when people have been running their business in that manual way that we talked about, and then they have their spreadsheet system and everything's the way they understand it, and they don't want to touch anything because
change is scary.
Change, just this fear suddenly that everyone's just going to leave, and just that's it. Okay, that spreadsheet is what was holding it all together. And so those types of things you really see the pattern on, because they've got this fear. But the funny thing is that their customers don't have that fear. Their customers have absolutely zero fear and love the idea that they can change their booking on an iPad, kind of late at night rather than message people. So that's a big one. The other thing is that people overcomplexifying their businesses. And it's just the amount of time, like thousands of times I've seen business owners, somehow think that they have to make everything really complicated because then it's a bigger business, and it's got, okay, so we have 13 different memberships and now we have 12 different classes and we've got all these different bands and everyone's got to do it in a certain way. And amazingly, every single time that we help business owners simplify their businesses, they find that they grow. And it's like, you think it'd be so obvious to see, but people, are scared of that change. And so therefore they almost build this kind of structure around themselves to like protect themselves from having to actually make those clear decisions about what to do.
I think when you're really close to something as well, it can be hard to see another way of doing it, even if that's going to make things easier for you. It's still like, well, as I say, that unnerving feeling of like, but if it's working-ish now and I kind of know how to handle it, if I then change something, will I be able to handle it like that? But I've seen quite a fefew, TeamUp gets brought up quite a lot in poll forums and stuff, and a lot of people have said like they're so grateful for the change and they feel so much better about it afterwards. And it can be quite scary to start relying on a software system if you've just always just used an Excel spreadsheet or a notepad or something like that. But as businesses grow, then you need to adapt as well. You also have spoken a lot about like the customer experience and how you want to try and assist studios really improve that side of their business. And what, in your opinion, makes kind of a great customer experience, and why is it so important?
Well, what a fantastic question. I think that the customer experience is really at the core of what makes a pole studio, a pole business be successful? And I think that it's something that pole gets right in so many ways better than other businesses. You know, it gets the community right. It bonds people together. People are excited about going. And what I've seen from my limited experience, I must admit I've never done a pole class. I should have by now.
We need to change that. We'll talk about absolutely. Some local studios after this. We'll get you hooked up.
Well, we're doing some more events over the next year, so I'm determined to try. I almost did at UK PPC, but I was
taking
too
it all in. There's a lot going on at those events.
I was too shy. So, but the thing that they get absolutely right is building the community, and that's a big part of the customer experience. And I think that the customer experience it goes back to like every single part of their interaction with the business. So, for example, when it comes to software, you've got, the customer experience is, well, okay, they come to the website, they want to find out what your services are. Is that right for me? I think a lot of customers, when they come to a pole business, are quite nervous. There's obviously it has a kind of risque feel to it, so it's like always. And also I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to be everyone's going to laugh at me, like me at the pole studio. But I mean, I know everyone would have laughed at me because I would have been absolutely awful. But
we don't encourage that kind of thinking. It's everyone's inclusive. Everyone's on their own pole journey. Even if you suck at everything, we'll make sure you succeed at something. So.
There you go. I should have spoken to you at that time. You'd have got me up. I'd be performing now. I'd be up at the competition. Yeah,
you would. This time next year.
Yeah, hidden talents inside. Yeah, definitely. So I think that customer experience is absolutely endemic, and I think that not by accident, but because they love what they do, pole studio owners get that right way more than other fitness business owners. If you take like a yoga studio owner or a Pilates studio owner, or you take kind of maybe like a PT, they don't really necessarily focus on how much the customer is enjoying themselves at the business. And they really focus on kind of the mechanics, like the results and those types of things. And I think that it's something that, it's a big miss generally. And I'm sure that there are pole studios out there who think that their job is to deliver classes, but actually probably their job is to deliver entertainment, also to make people feel better about themselves, kind of realize those kind of life goals. Mm-hmm. So I think that is the fundamental. Does that fit with your experiences?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like pole for the outside world, it seems so ironic that pole dancing, when you don't really wear very much, dance around, take lots of pictures and videos of yourself, it might seem quite narcissistic, or like only a certain type of person might enjoy doing that, or a certain body type. Whereas actually, if you go to a pole studio, like the variation in people and backgrounds and ages, sizes, it's so broad, and I think that's why it's so inclusive, and that's why so many people come back. And I've said this many times, and I'll say it again, but I think pole as an exercise, it focuses more on what you can do with your body, not on what it looks like. So I think that's why people, that each week they're coming back and challenging themselves, and if they are succeeding in challenging themselves, then that spreads into their kind of outside world as well, because then they can realize that they can do things that they didn't realize they could do with their body. So I think that in turn just massively boosts their confidence. So I think that's one of the reasons why pole is so popular. And as I say, like the community feel with the studios is another massive part of it. So yeah, it's just the best.
It's awesome. It's so true. It reminds me of something a yoga teacher who was I once had this yoga teacher who was from India, kind of really had like deep connections with proper gurus, and he said something great along those lines. And he said he was talking about handstands, and he said handstands are fantastic. If you do a handstand, then you become a tiger. Then you know that you can walk out on the street and you hold that inside you. You can do a handstand, so it lifts your head up higher. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what you were saying. Yeah,
exactly. Like at any point you could bust out some kind of crazy trick on a street pole or anything like that, and people are just going to be like, she's basically a ninja. So we can save ourselves from zombie apocalypses. We can climb stuff. Get out the way. It's life skills. That's
all the core life skills.
Exactly. So how does TeamUp, kind of bringing it back to you guys, how does TeamUp help with that customer experience? Like I know obviously there's a lot of benefits from a studio owner's perspective. It's going to save them time. It's going to make things a lot more streamlined. But from like the student's point of view, how would it make their customer experience better?
Yeah, a great question. I really, it comes down to making things easy. So from a student's perspective, they're not really that bothered about, kind of the process involved and the, kind of like the paperwork or the kind of minutiae. And in fact, I think it's really off-putting. If you ever joined like a gym and then they have like a, kind of a really complex contract, like 30 pages and all these kind of things, everything there just kind of ruins your experience. You're really excited. They told you they'd get results. You want to be part of the community. You want to be welcomed. Now someone seems to be signing you up to a, kind of contract. They're going to lock you in. You've got to read the small print. Yeah. And I think that stuff, we need that stuff in our businesses. We need the terms and conditions. We need waivers. We need kind of safety stuff, and we need the payments. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to dwell on it. We don't want to think about it. And we also want to make it really easy to swap stuff around. We don't want to know where we stand. We don't want to have to go and ask like, how many months minimum have I got left? Or how many classes have I got left on my class pack? Like all this stuff is like the stuff that just takes away from all that good work you've been doing. And additionally, like say if my payment bounces, I pay you monthly, I'm coming along to classes, I absolutely love them. My payment bounces, I got paid late this month, and I now, somehow and I'm really embarrassed about this. I'm coming along, I've got a great relationship with you. You've taught me some great stuff, and we've been building on that. And now suddenly it's kind of a bit, it's introduced this awkwardness, and now you're going to chase me for money, and suddenly it pulls the curtain back from the backstage, and I can see behind, and I can see the fact that, oh wait a minute, this is actually a business, we're not best friends, and and all that kind of stuff. And of course then for you as a studio owner, you're saying, well, I don't want to, now I've got to go and ask them about this. Oh my goodness, it's like that personal pressure. And I think that people can go onto your website, they can change their payment method, they can update it. The system will automatically, kind of remind them if they've got to do something. They can see like a banner at the top, which is going to tell you, give them advice about what they need to do. Oh, need to update your payment method. Oh, only one class left, right? Make sure you renew, and those types of things. I think those things they're subtle, but they do actually really improve the experience. Yeah. Like I like booking my classes with you because it's so easy. I like coming along to, because it's just a pleasant experience. I don't have to go through 30 pages of forms to get to your classes.
Yeah, I think that pulling back the curtain thing is quite interesting, because you do get very close with your instructors and students alike. Like everyone kind of forms like a little pole family. And I think taking away the transaction that has to occur between people can sometimes make it a little bit smoother. I use a company that I go to. I go to a hot pod yoga at the moment, and they use TeamUp. Oh, yeah. And it's great because I'm friends with the owners, and I just get to turn up, and my class is already booked, and I can buy everything I need to online, and then I can just turn up, and we don't have to be like, oh, here's some money, and it doesn't make it awkward because we're friends and I'm paying her, and I've just found it nice and easy, and it tells me how many I've got left at the top, so I just can be reminded, and also tells you how many people are in the class as well. So if you wanted to maybe go to like a busy class or a quieter class, you can kind of figure out where which classes you want to go to, and I found it really useful because from like now a student's perspective, even though I'm an instructor, like it's nice to actually see it from a student's perspective as well. So that's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, they're very challenging classes, aren't they?
I love it. I'm addicted, proper addicted. I went to Thailand and they had yoga, and it was basically like hot yoga because it was outside. It was insane. And I loved it. So the hot pods just started up in my town. So signed myself up to a pack. Yeah, love it. I just love being warm. I can't wait for it to be winter and just go sit in the pod and just be warm for an hour. It's going to be great. I hate being cold. So you've got a competition that you're running. Depending on when I put this live, I think it will already have launched. So you will have a competition running. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Who's it for, and how is it going to work?
Wow, it's really exciting. It is actually live as of today at some point. So
we're on August 15th for people who are pondering if this is in the future sometime.
Yeah, and well, basically, everything we've talked about with the customer experience. One thing that we've really committed to at TeamUp is the this process of customer success. So what we've tried to do is we try to understand exactly how our customers are thinking, what they like, what they don't like, and how we can get inside that. And part of that process is we've done a lot of research. We kind of listened to what our customers say, and we break that down into stuff that can give us information about what we should do. So we're always striving to be better. And what we like to do is what we want to try and expand that to all the business owners in our community and outside our community. So really, we were naming it any independent fitness businesses. So pole studios, it will include yoga studios and all the others as well. And what we're going to do is we've designed this competition. We want to take 4 lucky studio owners through a process, and we want to give them a gift of it's something like £8,000 worth of market research with professional consultants and like really getting in. So we want to go out. We want to work with them, kind of listen, work with them to set up surveys with their customers, really understand like the things that they can fine tune with the business. And this will all lead to kind of a professionally produced report that's going to give them exact tips on what they can do to build the business, to understand the customers. Great for customers too, because it kind of the idea is it's about making their experience better, like making everything better. So we've designed this competition, but the one caveat is we want to for everyone who applies, we want them to be willing to share some of their results. Obviously, personal details, etc., removed, but we want to try and share those results with a community that we want to build around this. And so we're calling this the Fitness Journey Project, and we want to take those 4 people on a journey, take everybody else, all other studio owners with us, bring in some experts, kind of understand the process, and really build like it's kind of a momentum around it. The headline would really be kind of, we want to give people the same insight that like big box gyms and big companies have, but able to deliver that in a small independent business. Mm-hmm. So we've developed this competition to try and achieve that.
So the people that are going to, obviously we'll go through kind of how people can enter and what it's going to involve, but if the people that win the competition are going to go through it, but then everyone else can kind of follow along that journey and still kind of be getting the tips and things along the way that's going to be relevant to them, because they're going to see how other businesses are going through it at the same time. So it's almost like reality TV, but for business owners in that kind of, but not reality TV, but you know what I'm saying. We all like to like see the journey of what people are going through. So who's it for? Like, how would you get yourself qualified to enter this competition?
So really simply, we've set up a special page for it. And so it's got all the kind of terms. Like one thing we're asking, for example, is that people have been in business for 2 years. So if you've been in business for less than 2 years, then please sign up anyway to be part of the community. But if you've been in business more than 2 years, you've got an email list, you're kind of willing to take part under the terms that we've put together, then basically you just go along to the page, fill out the application form, and then your entry will be accepted and logged, and hopefully you'll be part of the process and get all that insight for your business.
Do you have to be a member of TeamUp already, or is it just for TeamUp customers, or is it for anybody who wants to give it a go?
It's open to everybody. So the idea is we want to improve the standard for the whole industry. So everybody's welcome. So
all you have to do is basically sign up by like filling in a form, but then that's you entered. You don't have to do anything else. How are you going to like pick it? Is it going to be random? Are you going to like go through who you think is going to benefit most from it, or is going to give the most value to the rest of the community by following along their journey?
Well, we haven't bolted it down entirely, but it will definitely be random. So it will definitely be completely fair. We'll definitely do an initial screen. So we'll make sure that everybody who's included in the final batch has been qualified. We'll keep everybody up to date as part of that, so they know exactly where they stand. And then the winners will be drawn. And the idea is for the winners to be drawn probably close to the end of September this year. For people listening in 2020, it's too late. Come and join the community and find out what we did.
Yeah, that's good. And how did you realize that this would be like, what brought you to do this competition? Why did you think this would be a good thing to start promoting?
Really simply, we've done this ourselves, and the process just blew us away. For people who are obsessed by customer experience and customer success, it was just such an eye opener. It showed us places that we should be working on, things that we should improve, areas that we can benefit, our business and our customers. And so really, it's a passion project to see if we can help everyone else do the same.
Oh, nice. So is there anything else you're specifically looking for other than just 2 years, or is that pretty much the only qualification that you're looking for, or is there other things that may make some people stand out more in the screening process, just so people are aware?
So no, we're not looking for. We're not just going to look for celebrities or a social
so it's like
reach.
Size of studio doesn't matter.
No.
It's more like just
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could. There are a few little terms and conditions on the page. Nothing complicated. For example, we're saying you've got to have some kind of email list, maybe like 200 people. But I recommend just checking out the page, and I'm sure it'll be like the idea is we lay it out really simply for people, so really transparent.
Nice. And what is the page that they search for? I will link all this in the blog transcript and on the YouTube description, but just so people, if they're listening and have a good memory, which I don't, but if they did, then they could search for it.
Right. Pen's ready. Pen's ready right now. You only get 2 seconds. Yeah. It basically just go to goteamup.com/fitness journey. Okay. So fitness journey is all one word.
See, I forgot that already. But if I was joking, no, I'll link all of this in because people like, simplicity, as we now know from discussing what we've just been discussing.
Yes.
Simplicity is best. And is there any last words you'd like to share with the poll community? I know, you're very well received in a lot of the poll forums, and a lot of people have moved over to you already. But if people are thinking about making the transition to Go TeamUp, then what would your words be? Your sales pitch. I'm letting you sales pitch. This is not a sponsored podcast, by the way. This is not. I'm not getting paid for this.
I feel like you're pitching for it.
Well, we can discuss this afterwards. That's fine. But no, so I think it's nice to start. I wanted to start introducing some more business style podcasts. I think it's interesting to get another look at, from a student's perspective, what studio owners have to go through and have to think about. It's not just about, just rock up to class and, give them the money and everything's good. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and it's very, very stressful and takes a lot of mindset. And from a studio owner's perspective, I think it's always nice to get an insight into how to make their business easier for them so they can spend more time pole dancing, because at the end of the day, that's pretty much what we all want to do. So any words of wisdom to help us?
I think that from the time that I've worked with the pole industry, and bearing in mind that I've spoken with people from almost every single category of fitness, and I just have the utmost respect for pole studio owners. I think that they are just incredibly hardworking. I can remember a very early customer of ours was a lady named Pippa Loveridge, mm-hmm. who I'm sure you know, and she, it kind of struck me at the time, she almost ran the business on pure passion. And as I've got to know more kind of pole studio owners, it just seems to be such a driven and passion-based project. And I think that for students, for teachers, for everyone involved in it, I think it is just absolutely fabulous. And it is something that I think is one of the best areas that you can get involved with, if something.
Flattery will get you everywhere, so that's good. We're very accepting of flattery and compliments. We lap that stuff up. So just keep it coming, and you'll be more than welcome.
Yeah,
that's good.
Absolutely. And I think if you're interested if you're running a pole studio and you're not already using TeamUp, I don't know where you've been, so come, but in all seriously, come and check us out on our website, goteamup.com. Get in touch with the team, book a demo, book a call, test us out if you want to. We do a full business consultation with everybody, so we won't even let you get started if it's not appropriate. So if you can come to us for impartial advice, we genuinely will give it and try and help you if we can. And even if that means saying you're not ready, go and do this thing, but then come back and see us later. That's what we do.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for coming on and sharing about your competition. That sounds really exciting. I'm sure lots of people will be wanting to get involved in that. And just giving us a little bit of insight into TeamUp. So thank you, Tim. And we'll hopefully chat to you again sometime.
Yeah, look forward to it. Yeah, maybe I'll come on and we could talk about the results once we've got some as well.
Yes, yes, that'd be good. And we can follow up on your pole dance classes that you're going to start taking.
Yeah, videos and photos will be a must.
Okay, good.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me.
No worries. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Hope you guys found that informative. You can find all the links to TeamUp and the competition on the blog section of the Off the Pole website, along with all the previous episodes. I'd also love to hear your feedback on more business-focused podcasts.